And then you should know that that's called the meatus. But I want you to say urethral meatus, to indicate that you know the meatus for what? It's the urethral meatus. It's the meatus for the urethra. Let's see what's going on over here. Okay, so I need some more towels. I think I'm going to need more than that. This is beginning to run off onto the floor, so I want to stop that right now. So about a half dozen more towels would be good. I want to just leave some over here.
That's 6.
That's a half a dozen.
And then this is, okay, that's good. So let's keep some of them away, and then just give me a couple of them right now. Okay, thank you.
I'll put a couple on the floor for you.
Yeah, so there, where you see that there's a little puddle, and we'll wipe that up later. So you should know the glans penis. You have to know that for the quiz also, because there's an illustration, one of the required illustrations shows that. And then here's the shaft of the penis. And now I have to shift things around a little bit to locate the next items on the agenda.
Can you move
Is
your
there-
legs?
There we go. That's one thing, and I want to get another thing also while I'm at it. And now this one's going to have to be untwisted. It's twisted a little bit. Let me see, where
I'm
is
scared
this?
it's gonna splash on me.
Here. I remove this from inside this. So what is that?
Is
The
that scrotum?
Yeah, that's scrotum. All these things turn up in Bio 10 also, but in two-dimensional sections. Okay, so there's the scrotum. Now, what might that be?
The left ball.
Yeah,
To the left ball.
that's a testis.
Testy?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's one testis and
Testis.
two testes. And then what is this entity wrapping around the testis?
Epididymis.
Yeah, that's the epididymis testis.
That's from health.
And then now
Shut
I
up,
have to just
Vanilla.
hunt around a little bit over here. There it is. Okay, so here are some tubes, and they were inside. I don't know if I can even get a grip on it with these gloves. Let me see if I can get a grip on it. I might have to get forceps to enable me to get a grip on this, because these gloves don't give me good traction. So let me see if I can just maneuver this.
Do we know how old this horse was?
Horse.
I'm sorry. That's really good.
This came from an individual who was 67 years of age.
67?
Yeah.
Horse.
No, I think.
That big heart, at the very big papillary muscles that I showed, and the great big valve cusps came from him.
Oh, same person.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
everything's big on him.
He was just about 6 feet tall. He wasn't enormously tall, because he fit on the table without having me to amputate any limbs. So the table just accommodates up to a 6 foot with the limbs on, with the lower appendages on. Anybody taller than that, and the lower appendages have to be taken off to get the specimen onto the table. Okay, so I should actually show what was visible. It's there. Okay, so here there's a sheath of connective tissue that, with the aid of forceps, I can fold over these
Everyone's like
tubes.
leaning.
The sheath of connective tissue is called the tunica vaginalis. And That's the lining of the inguinal canal, which extends from the pelvic cavity into which the testes descend. Then that constricts down around the blood vessels and nerves and the ductus deferens. And so inside the tunica vaginalis, which is here, and I opened this up, we have the ductus deferens. That's what that is. They see that too? Also, in an older terminology, called the vas deferens. And then that is located inside this tunica vaginalis. And the tunica vaginalis plus its contents taken together are called the spermatic cord. You should know that. And then when a vasectomy is done, an incision is made in the tunica vaginalis, and then the ductus deferens can be tied off in a couple of places. And then usually these days, a portion of it is removed. So you want to have spontaneous reestablishment of the communication with the testes.
So the spermatic cord is the tunica vaginalis and the vas deferens?
Yeah, the tunica vaginalis and all of its contents.
Got it.
So that's more than just the vas deferens. That's also the genital nerves and blood vessels. You know, they're all running in there together. Okay, then that connects with the external inguinal ring, and then which is in the external oblique muscle, and then that the passageway then extends to an opening in the transverse abdominal muscle, the internal inguinal ring. So there's still an opening there because these things have to pass through. So a guy who lifts weights incorrectly and drives his viscera down against that repeatedly may have it stretch open, and then a loop of intestine can pop through. That's called an inguinal hernia. And then since the circumference of those openings is elastic, they can constrict down around the loop of intestine, causing ischemia. So if something isn't, that's a medical emergency because that loop of intestine will die. And you have to have an intestinal resection to remove the dead part and then suture the remaining parts together. So it has to be taken care of very quickly. So you should know all of these things as well. So what time does it say it is now?
10 after?
Yeah, so at this point,
Are we done?
this finishes the UG, that's right.
Oh.